Listen, tonight, can I ask you for a favor? Tonight is a Alta Baba's yard site. Think about Tzvi Lazo. Should be a schus.
The Shabbos Alavan Aliyah. The learning should be a schus. Okay, ready to go?
Yeah.
Okay, we got enough guys on?
Yeah, close enough.
All right, let's go.
Rabbi, my Gemara is by Yeshen, right?
I don't know. Oh, you didn't take it back? I thought you.
I'm gonna go back. I'm in my car now. I'm gonna go pick it up and then come.
Yeah. Okay. So Daf on the bottom. Where did we leave off? The bottom of.
On the bottom.
Oh, we left off by the Gemara, right? We left off by the Gemara.
Yeah.
Okay. So just the Chazer from the Mishnah. The Mishnah had said that if you're traveling and you recognize a tree. So depending on how you phrase the eruv, if you just say it's under the tree stam, so you didn't give a specific spot, so then it's not an eruv, right? But if you gave if you said the trunk of the tree, let's say, then that is an eruv, right? That was the first part of the Mishnah. Yeah. So then we're gonna have a Machlokes exactly what that means. So let's talk to Gemara. My lo mem tesam beis. My lo yomar klum. Right? What does it mean that he said nothing? Meaning when you say that you're making the eruv, like with a tree at the distance, and you make the eruv under the tree, so it says you didn't say anything. What does that mean? Omar Rav, lo yomar klum kol ikar. You didn't. When he says lo yomar, when the Gemara says lo yomar klum, it means nothing. The guy can't even walk to under the tree. Meaning again, the case was he's standing, let's say, 1,500 amos away from the tree, and his house is 1,500 amos from that tree. Right? So he's saying, he's standing there and he says, that tree that's 1,500 amos, I'm going to make my residence over there for Shabbos, and then that will be within, my house will be within 1,500 amos. So we said it's lo yomar klum. So the question is, what's the lo yomar klum? That he can't even walk to the tree, or that he can't walk from the tree to his house? So Rav says, lo yomar klum means at all. What?
Is that term kol ikar a play on words?
What, because of the ikar of the tree?
Yeah.
I hear, very good. Very good. I don't know. Could be. But anyway, so Rav is saying it didn't say anything at all, and he can't even go to under the tree. Shmuel amar lo yomar klum lebeisai, meaning it doesn't work him to get to his house. Aval tachtav shel ilon matzi also, but he could walk to under the tree. V'nasa tachtav shel ilon chamar gamel. Then it becomes, like we said, it's the guy that's pulling the how does it go? He pulls the camel and he pushes the chamor. Right? So he's stuck in the middle. So it makes the chamor go, if he wants to go to the north, so then you have to count it from all the way back from the south. He wants to count from the south, you count it from the north. Meaning, we go l'chumra, from where he's standing to the tree. If he wants to go away from the tree, we start his tchum from the tree. So he gets much less. If he wants to go further than the tree, then we start the tchum where he's standing. Right? Meaning it's a chumrah from both ways. Meaning we look at him, because we have two options. We could look at him as if he's living right here where he was standing on Erev Shabbos, or we could look at it like his tchum starts in the tree. So we're going to be machmer both ways, and we're going to start, if he's going away from the tree, then the tchum starts from the tree. If he's going towards his house, then the tchum away, meaning north from, again, let me say it again. If he's going north from the tree, assuming he's south and then the tree is north, right? So if he's going to go north, then his tchum starts from where he was standing before Shabbos. To use our example, he was 1,500 feet away, 1,500 amos away from the tree. He only gets 500 amos north. If he decides he wants to go south, and he's 1,500 amos away from the tree, then the max he can go south is 500 amos, because we assume that he went from the tree. Meaning we're going to go l'chumra both ways. That's what Shmuel says. Okay? But Shmuel has a cooler, though, that he does allow him to walk to the tree. Rav doesn't even allow him to go to the tree. Yeah, Shmuel does. So Amar Rava, my time at the Rav, the loy Messiah Asrei, right? Because he didn't, the reason that Rav says that he didn't have the eruv is no good is because he didn't give a specific place. All he did or say under the tree. That's not a specific enough place. Anything that can't be done one after the other, even at one time, doesn't work. So since this eruv, we don't know which way. Again, they're both arguing in Rav why it doesn't work. But since this eruv, you have no idea where under the tree it's going to be. So since that doesn't work, so then even bevas achas, even at one time, it doesn't work. The Gemara will try and get clear after this. So my benayu, what's the difference between the two terutzim? Bottom line is the guy's eruv doesn't work and he can't walk to under the tree, and all he gets is his dalet amas. If he says that he wants to be kaina from the four amas from the 8 amas, meaning let's say the tree is 8 amas wide, right? So he says I want to be kaina on 4 of the 8 amas. So that's like quasi-specific, right? He was more specific than just saying the tree, but he didn't say a specific amount. The one that says that the reason why Rav says the eruv is no good is because he didn't say a specific spot. So here he didn't say a specific spot either. I mean, he said it a little bit more specific because he said 4 out of the 8, but he didn't give it specific enough. But the one that says it's something that doesn't work one after the other, doesn't even work at one time. This, when he says ka'arba amas dami dahacha arba amas koma, this is like saying arba amas because he did say here 4 amas, right? He did say 4 amas out of 8. He didn't say which 4 amas, but he chose 4 amas. So that would be enough that to count as an eruv. Yeah, so that's why. But meaning, so now that's why, according to this pshat though, right? Can he count? Does the eruv fully work? No, it doesn't, right? He only gets to go to the tree. He can't go to the house. That meaning that it wasn't specific enough to go to the house, though. He would be able to go to the tree, but not to the house. Okay, so Gufa, now the Gemara is going to ask on this second sheet. The Gufa, Amar Rabba, anything that doesn't work one after the other, it doesn't even work when at one time. So what does this mean? Abai asked the Kasha Rabba, Hamar b'maisrus. If somebody is marba in maisrus, meaning he gives too much meiser, you're supposed to give 10% to the Levi, and this guy decides to separate 20%. So what's the din? So you would think, what's the big deal? Why can't he separate more? That's not the din. Peirosa misukanin, the peiros are misukan, meaning he's allowed to eat from the fruit. Masraisa mikukalin, but his meiser is messed up, and his meiser doesn't work. Why?
I thought you allowed to give up to a chaimish.
What? No, this is not. That's meiser ksafim. This is meiser on fruits and vegetables. You're right. You can give up to a chaimish, but this is meiser ksafim.
Doesn't apply.
Right? No, I'm sorry. This is not meiser ksafim. This is meiser peiros. So the Gemara says, why does it even work for the other fruit? Right? Why don't we say this rule that if it doesn't work zeh, which here it clearly doesn't, so then the whole thing is no good. Again, just to make it clear, a guy is giving 10%. Let's say he has 10 apples. He's supposed to give 1 apple to the Levi. Instead, he gives 2 apples to the Levi. So the din is that those 2 apples, it's not considered meiser. You have to be machmer for both, that it's meiser and it's not meiser. But the 8 apples he could eat because he already took off the meiser. So Gemara is saying, well, why the 8 apples? Does the 8 apples work? Right? Zeh achazeh, when he gives meiser 10%, he gives 1 apple. Then he gives a second apple. That's zeh achazeh, and that doesn't work. So if zeh achazeh doesn't work, we said the rule is then even 1 doesn't work. So that means he never separated meiser. So why is he allowed to eat from the other 8 apples?
When he gave the first one, why isn't it meiser already?
That's exactly right. That's exactly what the Gemara is saying. That when you give the second 10%, it mixes up the whole thing. Is that you don't know which one is going on which. So therefore, what?
I don't understand that. It's meiser should be chal. The second he gave the 1 apple,
and then once he gave the second one, it unchals the first one.
That's very. How does that work? Unchaling.
What is
Is that a real word?
what?
Isn't that what we're saying? Once he gives the second one, it nullifies the first
So
one.
how does that work? What happened if the Levi took a bite out of the first one already? His son-in-law is a Levi. They're there for Yontif. Before this Magefa, they're there for Yontif. He does it. The guy takes a bite. Then he gives a second one. So what happened?
No. So good. So very good. In that case, l'chayra, I could hear what you're saying. But this case is that he took 2 apples off in the first place. No.
What are you worried about? Are you going to mix up those two?
That would answer your kasha. You're right. I didn't give a good example. L'chayra, you would be right. If he gave one apple, and then 5 minutes later he said, you know what, I want to give another apple. So now it's very clear that the second apple shouldn't be meiser.
But what are we worried about?
2 apples. He gave 2 apples. Now we have no idea which one is which. So therefore, you can't have either one of them, right? Because we don't know which one's meiser, which one's not. Right? But the other 8 are okay. What are you saying, Michael?
Because you're worried that you might eat the wrong one of the 2 apples?
Yes, because we don't know. One the meiser is chal, and the other one the meiser is not chal. Right? So you don't know which one, so you can't eat either one. So now what the Gemara is asking, but 1 second. If you're saying something b'zeh chazeh, which is the classic case here, I mean, zeh chazeh doesn't necessarily have to be zeh chazeh, meaning you do more than that's required, so you don't know which part it is. Same thing with the tree. You did more than is required, so you don't know which part of the tree the tchum is. So here you also don't know which part of the meiser is good, so then the whole thing shouldn't work. So then the other 8 shouldn't be okay either. It should nullify the whole thing. If you're saying zeh chazeh doesn't work, then the whole thing doesn't work. So that's what Gemara is saying. Right? That's the rule you said. So shani meiser deisi lechatzayin. No, meiser is different. Because meiser you could give half meiser, meaning diamar tikdash palga dechitza kitcha. A person can theoretically give a half of a kernel of wheat as meiser. Right? Meaning, let's say he has 5 kernels of wheat to give, or 5 kernels of grain. So how do you give 10% of that? You want to give a half a kernel of grain. So that you could do. So since you're able to do that for Maisa, so therefore it's therefore you could make things chal in half. Oh, then the Gemara says another question from Maisa. Maisa behema, the lesser lechatzayin. Maisa behema, you can't give a half a behema. A behema, it's either all or nothing. V'amar Rabba, well, whether you go as Rabba or not, but whatever it is, Yotza Shnayim Ba'asiri. Let's say somebody said, Taka, this is a Yom Kippur Gemara, right? Because, I should remember the words already, no? Kol, Rabbi Yunufanecha. Kevakoras Roya Edrei. No, that's exactly what they compare it to. Maisa Behema, right? He's knocking each, you count 10 and then you brand one of them. So Mamish, again, Yom Kippur Gemara. Okay, very good. So, I mean, this one's not as good as the Rosh Hashanah Gemara. Let's call a spade a spade. Yeah. But anyway, so what happens if 2 animals escape as the 10th one? Right? Similar case here. What are you saying?
I'm sorry. Is that special of Ma'aser Behema is then? Because let's say Korban Pesach, you put 10 families on one Behema.
No, it's a different thing. This is, you count 9, and then the 10th one you're expecting to be the Meiser, and then 2 escape. So now you got a problem, because which one is the 10th? Right? The same thing with the last case, but here you can't split the animal. So Yotzu Shnayim Ba'asiri, V'Koran Asiri, and you call them both 10. Asiri V'Echad Asim V'Ravan Zebazeh. So we say it's the 10 and 11 are mixed together, right? So one is going to be hektish, and the other one is going to be a shlomim, right? So the Gemara is going to ask, so the same thing, why? The whole meiser shouldn't work, right? The whole meiser shouldn't work if you do too many, right? Standing with the tchum, you said the tchum under the tree is too much; it doesn't work. The tchum, so to here, all the animals shouldn't work. You should have to take on meiser again. So shani meiser behema, disi b'zeh betois. No, meiser behema, you could do zeh when you make a mistake. The Tanna. Koralachi Asiri, let's say by mistake, the guy calls the number 9 animal, he calls it 10, which would mean it's hektish. Ula Asiri Chi, and he calls the 10th the 9th. Ula Achadosar Asiri, and the 11th he calls the 10th. So now what's the din? Shloshta Mikudashin. They're all hektish, right? So therefore you see that Meiser Behema has a separate din, special din, that they're all on they're all hektish. They all retain their hektish. So you can't answer kasha on that. So next kasha, very taida. The carbon taida comes with 40 chalas, right? You know what I mean? You see, nowadays people are always asking for, should they bench goimel, should they not bench goimel? Yeah, we got a challah going right there. Yeah, I didn't watch yet, but I hope to watch soon. I'm saying, but now it's easy. You want to bring a carbon tithe, you get an aliyah bench goimel givaldik. What happens if you have to make 40 chalas? You know what I mean? You ain't gonna be benching goimel so fast, right? So anyway, so by taida, the lesser betois, taida is not a tois. The lesser bezeh and it doesn't work with zeh chazeh. Right? And for Itmar, what's the case? For Itmar, we learned Taida shenishchata al shmeinim chalas. Let's say a guy decides he went overboard, and instead of 40 chalas, he did 80 chalas. Right? So it was shechted with 80 chalas. What are you saying?
But the Machna Yehuda shook that all those fellas would have bags full of 40 chalas, 10 of each 4 ways. They would sell them on the way you were walking to the base of Migdash.
Yes, that would be a business. Yes.
When you went to the shtibluch for mincha, then you pick up your chalas and go.
Pick up. You needed a behemoth too. You needed. There's a lot. Yeah. Right. But anyway, so Vitma Taida shenishchata al shmeinim chalas. So if you Taida that gets shechted with 80 chalas, Chizki Amar Kitchu Allah Mem mitoy shmeinim. Chizki says you can be mekadosh 40 from the 80. If Yochanan Amar like Kitchu Allah Mem mitoy shmeinim, you cannot be makdish 40 from the 80. Right. Meaning you did too much. So Chizkiya says you're allowed to, and Rabbi Yochanan says you're not allowed to. So l'chayra from Chizkiya is a kasha. How are you allowed to pick 40 from 80? It shouldn't work. You did too much. Same thing with the tchom, same thing with all the animals we gave to Rutzim. But here it doesn't work. So why is 40 doing? He did too much. So hitmar Allah Amar Rav Zera call maidim hechadamar likachu abar mitoch shmeinim dekachu. When a person says that he should be makdish 40 from the 80, then the kachi that they become hektish, and lo yikdishu arbaim ela imkein kachu shmeinim. And then, I'm sorry, I'm mixing up the two cases. Everybody's ma'ida where go back one line. Hakol ma'idim heichad damar likachu arbaim mitoy shmeinim dekachi. Where somebody says, I want to be makdish the 40 chalas out of the 80, that's fine. But if a person says, I'm not being makdish 40 chalas unless I'm makdish all 80, which means that it's double, everybody agrees that it's not hektish. Fine. Keep ligi b'stama. What happens if he stam takes 80 chalas? Now he only gets 40. Does it work or not? All he's doing is he's saying the extra 40 is because in case the first 40 get messed up. When he brings it out tonight, right? So that would be okay, because he's only adding the extra 40 in case the first 40 become no good, right? That's one shito. Marsav the carbon gadol kamechaven. His kavana was for a large carbon, and memela, if it's for a large carbon, then nothing works because he did too much. You can't do double the amount. It doesn't really work, right? Fine. Okay. So Amar Abaya.
Is there a reason for that?
What? Why it doesn't work?
Yeah. Is that because we don't want nicer?
No, I don't think it works out nicer, right? No, the rule, the halacha is that anything that's zeh chazeh, right, meaning you doubled up, then it doesn't even work for the original thing that you wanted. That's Rabba's din. Anything that you double up, it doesn't.
No, but this isn't Rabba's din. This is Stamadin by carbon taida. By carbon taida, you're not allowed to bring 80, only 40.
No, but we're saying that by everything. Carbon taida happens to be a what? Because you don't know which. Because it doesn't meet. You don't know which 40 are the carbonas. You can't bring 80. You can't just bring 40.
That's what I'm asking. Why can't
I say, can I just walk into the base of Mikdash and be makar 40 loaves of bread?
Why not?
I don't think there's you could be makdish it, but I don't know if you could be makar of it.
He's not being makar of it, so he's eating it.
What do you mean? But it's part of a carbon.
Yeah, so the carbon he's bringing 40 extra chalas. Big deal.
No, I don't know.
They don't want big shots like you, Gershon, showing off, okay? All these fancy guys from Cleveland, they don't want him showing off, you know?
That's what I'm
You're saying-
asking. Is that the reason?
I don't know. I know. I think it
Maybe
just
that's
doesn't
the
fit.
reason.
Then they're gonna start bringing schnapps and
Right, exactly.
Okay.
I don't know. I thought because you're not a carbon has a certain recipe and you gotta meet the requirements. You can't overdo it. That's what I thought. But maybe I'm thinking very
any of these
oversimplifying.
would be a
No,
din
Gershon,
derabbanan.
seriously, if you
Not
want to
the
bring extra, bring a separate shlomim. You have such a chorus of time, bring a separate shlomim. But the formula korbanos have to be the same. That's it.
But he's doing the opposite. These 40 challahs are for people to eat. The shlamim that he's bringing. He's adding an extra 40 challahs.
Yes, so you can't add. You can't add to the chiyuv because this is why the people taka who have a money issue they'll feel bad because this guy went and bought bought 40 Rebbe shechalas. Of course, they made $100 for the 40 chalas. You know, they can't do that. You have to bring the same size.
So these are today's chasna takanas. So midaraisa is it chal?
I don't know.
It should be midaraisa.
I don't know. It seems like not.
So there has to be a reason for that.
I hear. I don't know. I just learned very simple. For Yom Kippur, my lumdus works for sure. All right. Okay. For Yom Kippur, it works. So that okay, it's balabatish. What should I tell you? That's what I understood it. Okay. Let's see weiter. So now we're back to the tree. So again, we said that the eruv doesn't work with the tree, and we have a machlokes, well, meaning you certainly can't carry it to your house. And the question is, can you carry it under the tree or not? So we're only talking about a tree that has 12, that under the whole branch, right? The Gemaras have like this description of a tree. So we're only talking about a tree that under it is 12 amos, right? Yeah, so then you have okay, we'll see it clear in a minute. Then if there's a tree that doesn't have 12 amos, part of his house is going to be nicker, right? Why? Because again, you need 4 amos. You have 4 amos. So 12, the Gemara is assuming now, and I don't really understand this Havamina, but when you have 12, so then you have the chayra, one of the 4s is gonna at least has a decent chance of overlapping, right? Meaning if you take a 12 and you put it into three sections of 4 each, right? Then the outside 4s are going to touch the middle 4, right? So therefore, it's going to have his eruv is going to be somewhere with this 4 amos, within this 4 amos, right? I mean, you're going to have whichever part of the tree you do it, either on the right side of the tree, the left side of the tree, the middle of the tree, you're going to all have a common area of an amma. I know it's not necessarily an amma, but part of whichever your options are of 4 amas, you're bound to have one section that's going to be included, right? So therefore, he's saying once it's less than 12 amas, then meaning because it's less than 12, let's say it's 11.99, right? So you know that there is going to be at least one section that works for the whole time, which is an obvious question, which is what the Gemara is going to ask. Maskular of Huna, Brayder of Yeshua. Well, who says? Who says you're taking the 4 in the middle? Meaning, if you pick the 4 in the middle from the tree, then yes, you're going to have either from the right side, the left side, and the middle. But let's say the guy decides to pick the 4 amas all the way to the right. So who says that you have anything specific under the tree, right? Which I think is I don't really get the havamina, right? Again, he was assuming that the tree. Let's use it a different example. Let's say it's 10 amas wide under the tree, right? So in the havamina, the Gemara is thinking, well, if you pick the 4 amas in the middle, then that's for sure part of the 4 amas of the right side and the 4 amas of the left side, because the 4 middle is going to cover the middle 4 amas, obviously, and it's going to have half a amma into the right 4 amas. It's going to have a half an amma into the left 4 amas, right? So therefore, it should work. And then therefore, either way you cut the cake, he's going to be under the middle of the tree, and his eruv should be a good eruv. So then the Gemara asks, well, who says that the guy picked the 4 amas in the middle of the tree? Maybe pick the 4 amas to the right of the tree or the 4 amas to the left of the tree. Right? So Ela Maravuna, Breda Rav Yeshua, Loishanu, Ela Be'ilan Shetachtav Ches Amos. Oh, we're only talking about a tree that has 8 Amos under it. Ava Be'ilan Shetachtav Zayin Amos, Arei Miktas Beisai Nicker. If under the tree, it's only 7 Amos of branches under the tree, so then you know for sure that if you're picking a spot of 4 Amos, that's for sure going to cut it, right? If you have a 7 Amos and you put a 4 Amos there, you're going to get, if you put it, you're going to automatically have either the right 4 Amos of the tree or the left 4 Amos. He's going to automatically have a piece of whatever this guy could have theoretically made his dwelling place of Shabbos. So therefore, it works. Okay? So again, the Gemara's Havamina was 12, and then the Gemara changes it. It says anything less than 8. Okay, fine. Then now we go back to Rav and Shmuel. Tanna Kav say the Rav, Tanna Kav say the Shmuel. We have a braysa like Rav, we have a braysa like Shmuel. Tanna Kav say the Rav, Mishuba B'derech. Somebody is coming in the way. And it got dark on him, and he recognizes a tree, a gather or a fence, and he says, I'm going to live, my Shabbos is going to be under that tree or by that fence. He says nothing, because he didn't say anything specific. If he says that my makom is in on my shvisa, my Shabbos is going to be in a specific place, then he can walk up into that place. If he reaches that place, then he's allowed to walk in that whole place. Meaning, let's say that place is in a fence.
He has to see it, or he just knows it. If he describes the white shul perfectly, and he's still on Rockaway Turnpike.
So I think we're going to see the Gemara. I think tomorrow's daf, or I don't think it's. I think it's tomorrow. I think the Gemara is going to discuss it, or it's going to be mashma like that. It's a very good question. Yeah. But if he says my shvisa is in a makam ploini, he could walk up until he reaches that place. He can go that entire area. Let's say it's a fence. Let's say it's a yard. He can go that entire yard. And outside of that, 2,000 amas. But that's only if it's in a specific place. Let's say he's living in a tel. How do you call a tel? A hill, right? That's 10 tvachim high. Bumi dalet amas vad beis asayim, and it goes from dalet amas until beis asayim. B'chein pika, and same thing if he puts it in a valley, or he has in mind. He looks into the valley and says, "My shvisa is going to be by the valley." Shiyamuka yod, it's 10 tvachim deep. Bumi dalet amas vad beis asayim, and the length is from 4 amas until beis asayim. Right? But if it's just stam, he says, I'm making my eruv in middle of an area and there's no specific thing there, then it doesn't work. Now the braysa why it has to be only up to beis asayim, as we know, if it goes bigger than a beis asayim, then that's a karfif. So the memela you couldn't possibly, that's not considered a normal place to live. Fine. So then what's the proof? Not yet. If there's 2 guys, one guy recognizes the fence, right? Meaning, maybe this is it, what you're saying. One guy recognizes, one guy does not recognize it. Meaning the guy, what do you mean recognize it? Can't they both see it? Not talking about one guy is blind, right? The guy says, I'm telling you, I know around that bend is the white shul or something. That's what you may be. Anyway, so you have 2 guys. One recognizes, one doesn't. The one who doesn't recognize it gives over his shvisa to the one who does recognize it. And the makir says that my shvisa is in that specific place. Right? That's only where he says which 4 amas he's being kaveya. But if he's not, he doesn't say a specific place, he doesn't move from this place. Yeah? So whatever it is, what do we see from this whole case? That the bottom line is that this braysa is mashma like Rav. Right? Because what does Rav say? If the guy didn't say any specific, the first part of this braysa says very, very straightforward. If a guy doesn't recognize, if he just says, I'm making an eruv somewhere over there, then it's not, then it doesn't work. So that's mamash like Rav, right? But so the Gemara says, so again, good. If that's like Rav, let's say this braysa is a kasha on Shmuel. Amalach Shmuel, Hachamaskinin, going to Ikum Makam Raglov ad Ikrai Trey Alfi Va'arba Garmidi. He says it's talking about a very specific case. In this case, it's 2,004 Amos away from the tree. Meaning, because we know you get 4 Amos plus 2,000. So this tree is 2,004 Amos away. The Imuk must lay the What do you say?
Parents or Jesse knows exactly where they left their bottle of mashka, so they could say exactly where it is versus their house.
Okay, I hear, but he's saying here, so I guess there was no mashka, so they're doing visually, right? So again, he's talking about a case where the tree is 2,004. Garmidi is another word for amma. I don't know why the Gemara chooses to use the word garmidi here, right? But it's 2,000. It's 2,004 amas away, right? So therefore, what? Because if he puts himself on the wrong side, on the other side of the tree, he's going to be standing outside of the tchum. But if he set a specific 4 amas, then he's able to go there. And if he didn't say a specific 4 amas, then he can't go, because how do we know which side of the tree is 4 amas? So that's what Shmuel is saying. That's why it doesn't work, the eruv, because the guy didn't make a specific amount. But theoretically, if he specified where on the tree it is, and it's within 2,004 amas, then Shmuel will be maida that it would. I'm not maida. Shmuel would hold that it would work. But here we're talking about where it's 2,004 amas, right? So therefore, it can't work because we don't know where on the tree. If it's on the wrong side of the tree, he's more than 2,004 amas away. Okay, Tanya, so that's that we learn like Rav. Tanya comes to Shmuel. Let's say a guy made a mistake, and he made an eruv in 2 different directions. That guy has to be having a real winner of a Friday, right? How do you make an eruv tchum in 2 different directions? I'm saying, right? He believes that he can make an eruv in 2 different directions, right? Which we know can't work. I guess.
Well, he didn't know which way the Rebbe would come from. You know
what? No, but that's a Tanai.
Same case.
That's a Tanai. That works. That's good. I forgot about that. That's a good thing you're saying. Right? That's a Tanai. He says if he comes from this way, I'll go that way. If he goes, but here the guy did it both. I mean, he thought Friday night he's going to go to one Shalom Zachar. Shabbos day he's going to go to a Kiddush. Right? Gotcha. So he made an eruv like that, and he didn't know that it doesn't work. Or he told his servants to Virvuli, go make me an eruv. Talk about communication with workers. Right? He said one guy makes him an eruv to the north, one guy makes him an eruv to the south. So then mahalach litzafin keruva lidarim or lidarim keruva litzafin. So since he's stuck in the middle, right? He can only, like we said before, it says a chamar gamel. He's stuck in the middle, and he can't go too far north. He can't go too far south. Right? Meaning if he goes north, his tchum starts from the south. If he goes south, his tchum starts from the north. And if they made an eruv of 2,000 amas to the north, 2,000 amas to the south, then you know what his din is? He can't move. Right? Because every time he moves, he's out of the tchum. Right? So therefore that doesn't work. So whatever it is, so this is a raya to Shmuel, that you could have a half eruv. You can have a half-baked eruv, halfway here, halfway there, right? So that's l'chara a raya to Shmuel. So okay, so then this is a braysa, right? So it's a kasha on Rav. Rav Tanna Upalik. So we say no, Rav is a Tanna, and he could disagree with a braysa. So there's no kasha on Rav. Because Rav can just disagree with this braysa. Okay, that's enough for tonight. Okay, it's very nice.
Thank you.
Yes.
What's the Indian with fleishiks tonight?
It's a sudas mitzvah. So Mamela, it's considered a Yom Tov Suda. It's like a Yom Tov Suda.
A person's mechuyev to have the Sudas mitzvah tonight?
Listen, I don't know. We every matzah Yom Tov we say we should be eating fleishiks, and we say it while we're eating milchiks. What should I tell you? I'm not saying I don't know if we're getting off on the wrong foot. But,
so it's good to have the hearty chicken soup motzi Yom Kippur that you had erev Yom Kippur.
100%. You should have it. Yes.
It's brought down halacha to have a fleishik tonight.
It's not. It doesn't brought down love, but since it's a sudas mitzvah, most sudas mitzvahs are
What's
unless
the
you're
sudas mitzvah? What's the sudas mitzvah?
because it's a Yom Tif tonight, the Yom Kippur, Baruch Hashem. We all, we came out of Yom Kippur, and
What do you do about the candles? You got the candles done this year? Or no?
Oh, I did the candles, but then I realized, right, one of the candles supposed to be for Havdalah. I was never miyachid which candle, so I did better. I did better this year.
Do you have to be doik? Which one it is?
Well, that's the whole point of lighting a special one, that it should be special for the thing. Now I'm looking at
all of them
now
stayed.
I didn't know.
Yeah, but all of them stayed from before Yom Kippur. Who cares?
No, but the one you're supposed to light one specific to show that this aura is also on Yom Kippur, and I'm using it for Havdalah. That's why you're not supposed to use. You're not supposed to use the one for the neshama.
You're halfway there. You did the candles, and you're halfway there. All right.
I'm halfway. So hopefully by next year, Bez Hashem, I'll get my act totally together.
There you
But it's
go.
okay because I realized half hour before Yom Tov that I didn't have any candles. Naftali Liner brought me some. So I got to give credit where credit is due.
From Siakov is the first year because my wife looked at your tweet. We did three left.
Taka? Okay. So we're in the same boat. We're all in the same boat.
One of my kids told me we're not yeshivish because we don't have soup and big ziti on to break a fast because we do bagels and lox. We have bagels and lox. I said that's the way we grew up was bagels and lox to break a fast.
But you're right. A bris is a sudas mitzvah. And we have everybody has bagels and lox. What happened to the fleishiks over there?
In Israel, they do fleishiks.
Right, the real
yes,
they
do schnitzel. Yes, they do schnitzel. Yes.
Yeah, so it's the same. It's the same thing. It's a sudas mitzvah. We should have fleishiks. All right, we don't.
Now, if someone's having soup to break their fast, are they allowed to start eating it on Yom Kippur?
What does that mean?
What?
No, I'm saying you have soup that you had eruv Yom Kippur. Now it's in the fridge. It's cold. Are you allowed to start heating it on Yom Kippur? Or do you have to wait for Yom Kippur to be over to heat it?
How could you heat it on Yom Kippur?
Oh, yeah. Never mind.
Shabbos. Not only that, Jesse, you can't even leave it on the fire over the whole Yom Kippur.
Right.
You tweeted that out last week.
What? Jesse, next time don't send pictures of your Havdalah, okay?
I gave you the 2-day one. Wasn't that?
Anyways, okay.
You said that yesterday. The other day you can't set up a crock pot.
Yeah. Even though I have a cholent going from a crock pot for over Yom Tov, so I might just go avail myself of that with fleishiks, hot dogs, the whole deal. So I might just do that.
That was for kids?
Well, for the kids.
It was for the kids, which, by the way, my father's one of the Racha did not like it. My father's one of the held it. I don't understand why he held that it was no good. It doesn't make any sense to me, but he held that he didn't let my mother make a cholent over Yom Kippur.
Because it's hard to be in a house when you have that geschmack smell there.
My father wasn't in the house the whole Yom Kippur.
Fair enough.
So I don't know, but he didn't. So what should I do? But all the contemporary rabbis say it's okay. So you know what I mean? Whatever.
Yeshua, Marchuk, we had lox and onion omelet.
The iron. I mean, I guess you're not yeshivish. That's all.
All right, Sviakov, go eat. Goodbye.
Don't worry, Simon. I ate a cupcake. I ate cake. I ate wine.
Baruch Hashem.
Now I gotta go wash. Maybe I'm gonna have milchiks and then fleishiks. That's what I think I'm gonna do. I'm gonna yaitza ala the shitas. I'm not having bagels and lox though, but I think I'll have ziti and.
Oh, good. You're not conservative then, you know.
There you go. We didn't go that far. We said modern.
Simon, I didn't have it at 3 o'clock after Musaf. I had it after Kiddush Malon.
The video is still recording.
Someone's going to enjoy this a lot.
Yeah, anyway. Okay.
Bye.
Everybody should have a good year.
Amen.
A good yard.
Amen. By you as well.
Continue to learn. We should continue to learn together at difficult times like this, and it's a shame. It should be a schus for everybody.
Amen.
All right.
Bye.
Okay. Bye-bye.